It's the internet, you're busy, let's do this. Welcome to the Games Beat Decides podcast, a podcast where we decide everything in the world of games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is...
Mike Minotti, and I have a giant cup.
He's got a giant cup, everybody. Can you even handle that? Just to clarify for our audio listeners, you are talking about a receptacle for fluids and not the other kind of cup.
What other kind of cup?
I'm making a penis joke. I'm making a penis joke.
Yeah, that's funny. I should have I should have gone with that.
Yeah, I don't know. You weren't there for me, Mike.
Then people would be impressed and be like, "Wow."
You weren't there for me in the same way you weren't there for me last week because you were at BlizzCon. We're going to talk about that today, as well as some news and some games. First, I want to thank everyone for joining us. And then even before I do that, even though I've already done that, I want to tell everyone there's a chance you could win. What is it, Mike? The Collector's Edition?
The Collector's Edition.
Yeah, help me out here. Wolfenstein, the New Colossus?
Wolfenstein, the New Colossus. And we're giving that away on Twitter. I guess I should ask what version it is. But
who knows? We should find that out.
Yeah,
find that
right now.
Yeah, click and clack. Get us the answer to that. Basically, just follow our Twitter account. It's at GamesBeat on Twitter, and we're going to have that giveaway at some point.
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4 version. Okay.
That's
all right,
all
excellent.
Kids like these days.
Yeah, that's the one system. That's the only system anyone's playing. Actually, legit, I tried to give away some Xbox codes during a extra live stream on the weekend. All the ones that were worked on both Xbox and PC went, and then the codes for Halo 5 and Halo 3 that you can only use on the Xbox, I don't think anyone took those. So
get that Xbox One X now. Maybe interest is coming back for that one, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, at a certain point, I just think
it was a rough 2017 for the Xbox One, but it could be having a comeback.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot more of that system. We'll talk about that. Okay, first, if you want to email the podcast, you can let us know anything that you have a problem with or tell us how great I am and how bad Mike is. GamesPlusPodcast@VentureBeat.com. That's the plus sign. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, there's an audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and anywhere where pods are caught. Finally, if you like the show, rate us on Apple Podcasts. It helps. I don't know how it helps. I just know it does. All right, Mike. So you were at BlizzCon. Do you want to kind of just tell me, did you play anything first? Let's do this section where if you got your hands on anything there, what was it and how was it?
Yeah, I mean, this was my first BlizzCon, so it was really cool to be there. But I had a chance to check out pretty much everything. I'll kind of go from most exciting maybe to the least exciting. But I mean, Overwatch is still so big right now. Getting a new healer for that game is pretty cool.
It's crucial. Yeah.
Yeah. So and the healer is Mora, and she's kind of another hybrid healer damage thing, but she kind of works more with these she has beams. So left click is shoot out the healing beam. Right click is the damage beam.
What button do you shoot out pinto beans?
Man, not so much.
Damn.
She has that. She has an orb that she shoots at. It'll bounce around for a while. It's the same thing where it can either damage or heal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so her ultimate is a Kamehameha that will damage enemies and heal the friendlies. So
all right. So that sounds very good to me based on where Overwatch is. You coming away from that, what were your feelings?
Yeah. First off, it was just good to get any kind of a new healer right now because. The game has a mercy problem, and they know it. I actually got to talk with Jeff Kaplan, had a really good interview with him. I think it went well. That went up on GamesBeat over the weekend. And he was very candid about the mercy things where, she had this mass res, and they changed it to just a single target res, and it kind of became even more of a problem because the single target res is really powerful because it's on a relatively short cooldown. And so they're already changing that and make it so that it can be interrupted and has this cast time, so she's vulnerable during it. So that's going to help. And they're also buffing Ana a bit by letting her deal more damage, so she'll be a more viable pick as a healer. But still, just, in the game, you have 6 people on your team at any time. 2 of those slots usually going to a damaging killer, which is basically all the attack and defense characters, which is half the roster right there of 26 people. Then you need 2 tanks. There's I don't know, maybe 6, 7 tanks. I forget exactly. But then, you need 2 healers, and there's 4 healers in the game. So it's that last pool, sometimes you can only maybe have 1 healer, but a lot of times you want 2, and you just don't have a lot of options. So if you want to heal in Overwatch, you never had a ton of choices of who you're going to be. So yeah, getting another healer in there, especially one that is so distinct, not just in her abilities, but she's the bad guy healer. She works for the evil organization. It's neat. It's a good addition.
Yeah, it seems very good. Like I said, like they knew
Right.
what they were doing, what they needed. They fit it in real well.
Yeah.
So
And it's impossible in like a weekend playing the
right,
character to know if like, oh, is she like in the meta? Is she like super strong?
yeah,
But
no way.
she definitely seemed fun. I hope it works out. Usually when these characters launch, the new characters they launch a little weak. The
Hmm.
one exception was Doomfist, who they nerfed and now hasn't been played very much at all since then.
Right.
Uh, but I'm optimistic. We also got a new map for Overwatch, which is just really fun. It's called Blizzard World. It's basically the idea like Blizzard is canon in Overwatch.
Hmm.
Like D.Va was a StarCraft player. You see like those Hearthstone tablets all around. And the idea is Blizzard has a theme park and they're gonna go fight on it. So it's neat because like you have like little Hearthstone area and the Warcraft area. Like there's like a little like dark ride and you can like run through there and there's a little eagle that you're supposed to be in. It's just pretty clever.
Yeah, you have experience with a lot of the things they're referencing because it's not just like other games. Like it's specific moments from those games sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of that. Like if you I mean, there's Nax Ramex, which is like this raid from World of Warcraft, and this, which is like this big undead floating temple thing. And now it's Snacks Ramus, and it's just kind of floating there.
Okay,
Even
that's
some
pretty good.
references just to theme parks in general. Like there used to be a kind of a famous thing in a Universal of like Jaws, like kind of hung up on this thing, and people would take pictures by it. They got rid of it, but they have like a shark on display that looks a lot like that Jaws did.
Huh, that's
So yeah,
cool.
just wonder, yeah, just but it's also another hybrid map, which are maybe the best maps. They're at least pretty good. Where you have to capture a point, then you escort a payload.
Right.
Kind of the
Those are the
best
ones
way.
that I was always the happiest when I was playing those.
Those are always pretty fun maps.
Can I
So
ask
and
you?
it's
Oh,
cool.
good.
I wasn't expecting hero and a map. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask. So along with the map, though, they're doing new skins and they're
Mm-hmm.
putting the skins in the base loot boxes. Is
Yeah,
that something they've done before? I couldn't. I was trying to find
I've
out.
done it about one time before. At least when
Right.
it comes to skins, it was when the Eichenwald map came out, and that was
Okay.
last year. So not very often,
Right.
and it's something they do need to do
Yeah, it
more of,
seemed
and I'm
way
glad they are.
overdue. Yeah. So like
I think I assumed and everyone assumed that the anniversary event was going to do that, and then it was still just more limited time event skins. It was
right.
kind of weird. So I'm glad that this is happening. Yeah.
Right. Do you think this is them signifying they'll do this more often, or do you think like we're going to be waiting another year?
Who knows? Because they ultimately would rather use these as a way to get people to get excited about the events, and they're
Right.
more
Of course.
expensive during the events, right?
Right.
But here and there, especially when it's like they make these animated shorts, and there was the new Reinhardt short, and it was pretty cool. And these characters have different outfits from that, and you want to kind of get those
Hmm.
outfits, and you can't really make those a limited time thing. And that's what we're getting. We're getting May's outfit from her short, and Reinhardt's from his. So.
Right.
Mhm.
So what else from BlizzCon? Anything else that you played?
Yeah. Hearthstone, kind of the next big thing. Its expansion is kobolds and catacombs. It's kind of a like fun little riff on some D&D stuff. So you're getting a bunch of new cards, and that's cool. But the neat thing here is that instead of just getting like a typical Hearthstone adventure, which is you like fighting against the AI bosses, it has this sort of roguelike dungeon mode called Dungeon Runs,
Hmm.
where you pick one of the 9 classes and it like gives you a pre-made deck that's kind of weak. It doesn't even have that many cards in it. You don't even have max health. And you like start by fighting like a giant rat, right?
Hmm.
And then if you beat that, you can add a random card to your deck. And like some of these are special cards that aren't in the regular game, and they'll do weird things like passively give every card in your deck +1/+1, or make all your opponent's cards cost more mana. And then you also then get like a bundle of 3 cards, like 3 of these bundles to pick up to actually add to your deck, and these will be regular cards. So it's neat because you're like it's like you're building your deck as you're going along,
Hmm.
but you don't need to have a catalog to get into this, and it's completely free. You don't even need to have bought anything from the expansion. It's just going to come out when it does. And the goal is to beat 8 bosses, and there's not just 8 bosses. There's like a bunch of different random ones, and so you kind of have different experiences as you're going through it. And the goal is just to win 8 times, and if you die, like you have to start over. That's kind of the roguelike element of it. You lose all your
Hmm.
progress.
Do you think they were maybe experiencing with like a deck building game, like the not card collecting, but like deck building, like Ascension or whatever, and like this is what came out of it? Like, do you think they're gonna ever try to put something like that into Hearthstone?
No, 'cause it's not quite still. It's not quite that
Right.
intense. I think like there's some deck building between, but again, you're basically have these basically adding 4 cards
Okay.
after every game. It's kind of what's happening, and some of them are pretty wacky. Like the one that I thought was funny was this card. It's not in the regular game, but it was I forgot how much it cost. So I think it was 10 mana. It just randomly casts Pyroblast until a hero dies. So Pyroblast is the
Right.
spell that
Yeah, I
just
saw
does 10
that.
damage. It was just hilarious because like I was losing. I'm like, well, let's see, maybe I'll get lucky. And like it just is killing everybody. It's hitting my face, hitting the AI's face, and then like it's like the next hit is gonna win, and then of course it hits me.
Yeah.
But I'm glad
That's
that they're
actually pretty cool.
experimenting some more with these, single player modes, and I'm glad that they're doing something that doesn't require you to have a big catalog of cards in the way that maybe the adventurers do. Because there's a lot of people like even my brother who was there doesn't really play Hearthstone, but this was something that he thought was interesting, and he could just download the game when this comes out and play it right away, and
Right.
not like he'll be at disadvantage that he doesn't know Hearthstone as well, but he won't be at disadvantage because he doesn't have things.
Right. Yeah. It's an interesting way to keep people engaged. Maybe when they're not feeling the core game, they can go do this for a while. We'll see. Anything else?
Next thing, World of Warcraft's next expansion is Battle for Azeroth. This one, I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting excited about this. It's just, they've done this before where they have an expansion where you don't really have like the big addition. Like Legion had Demon Hunter, right? Even though I didn't even really play Demon Hunter, it was something to kind of get excited about, like, wow, the new class or what have you. This one, it's kind of illustrated like there's some new zones. It's a little interesting in that there's two different zones. There's kind of one for Alliance and one for Horde, and eventually you start going in both. But when you're leveling up, you have to do one or the other. And there are some other concepts that they talked about, but we didn't really get to play. So there's some sort of new 3-player co-op experience where you just like you go to random islands and sort of have an experience there. There's some kind of RTS inspired thing, which I'm not sure how complicated it's actually going to be, and I can't remember what that was called. There's some other nice things, like they're bringing the level scaling to the original zones, but it's more of a range. Like you could go to one place from level 10 to 60. And
wait, is this World of Warcraft Classic, or is that something different?
No, that's completely different. This is
right.
just so Legion's one of the big things in Legion was that you could do the new zones in any order. It wasn't like this is the one from level 100 to 101 and so on. And now they're kind of doing some of that with the original zones, but they're doing it in a way so you can't just stay at like one place like Westfall for all 110 levels. Like at some point you have to leave. But what I was kind of really hoping for was with Cataclysm, which was the third expansion for the game, they redid all the like original zones. They spruced them up, added new quests and stuff. And at this point, those quests are now older than the original quests were when they got remade. And I was kind of hoping that it would be time to revisit those zones again, because it is kind of awkward because those quests are good, but they're all positioned around the Cataclysm, which as an in-game event was now something that happened years ago. So that's still staying there. So like the leveling experience is going to be more efficient, but it's still going to be story-wise and continuity-wise awkward.
Do you get that? Did you get the sense that they will deal with that, or does it feel like something like if they don't do it now, they might never?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like, at what point are you guys going to get to that? If not now, because this might have been that time to do it. There's like a bunch of little things here that like instead of legendary or the artifact weapons, you have some sort of amulet that you can like grow and it'll give you some new abilities as you go along. Instead of like a new race, there's all these like, it's like they're kind of new races. You unlock them by playing through the campaign. So, and like instead of being like a dwarf, you could be a dark iron dwarf, and it's distinctly its own race, but it's ultimately a darker skinned dwarf. And they have like their own passives and stuff, but it doesn't. It's not like the same as them saying like ogres are in the game now or something. It's kind of. It's not like completely just a color change, but they're similar. There's like a different kind of a troll, a different kind of a Draenei. And these characters also start at level 20, by the way, which is very clearly just their way of not having to make starting areas for them.
Right.
So again, I mean, it's going to be more World War. It's just when you're playing it, like, what am I playing at BlizzCon? I'm playing a new zone, so I'm doing World of Warcraft quests. Okay, and then you play the new dungeon, and it's a new World of Warcraft dungeon. It's fine. It's just it's very familiar, and I don't know if anything in this expansion is going to jump out as being a big poignant thing. Legion was a really good expansion. There was a lot there that I liked, and at least initially, I don't know if this is gonna kind of hold up
Right.
to that. But again, I'm saying that off of not a whole lot.
Right.
Maybe
No.
I'll probably
That's
wrong.
fair. But I mean, you're not getting the sense like they're phoning it in now, right? Like, I mean, there's still lots of subscribers to this game. Maybe a little bit,
Maybe.
like, because
You know what?
I don't think it could be a
I
money
was kind
thing.
of getting. You know
Yeah,
what feeling I was
tell
kind
me.
of getting, and I might be completely wrong. This sure does feel like one of the last expansions. And I
Really?
don't know why I feel that way. Even just the story, right? Like it's finally just Battle for Azeroth. Like we've had
Yeah.
like the story is literally just Horde versus Alliance. And that's just another like subjective thing where I sometimes don't like it when they push that angle so much because it's just a little I don't know. It's like every expansion they come together and they deal with a bigger threat. And then it's like now we fight each other again. At the point it's just almost I don't know if disheartening is the word, but it's a little silly.
Right. No. I
Um,
get that. Because I was going to say, it doesn't feel like it could be a money thing. That yes, it doesn't have as many subscribers as it once did on a regular basis, for sure. But even when they
I mean,
they've
I don't
spent
mean to
like
put anyone.
4 million to
I mean,
5 million, it like there's still got to be it's got to be like just a resources thing where they don't want to hire up and staff up for this game anymore. They're putting those resources towards other
Well,
things,
and
and
again,
there's
I'm not sure if it's that there's not as much content or what have you.
no,
I
I
mean,
know, but
maybe there is, but
maybe I guess yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just decision things. Like I said, just for whatever reason, I wasn't super excited about this.
Hmm.
Maybe part of it too is like I have my own ideas of what this expansion might look like.
Yeah,
I thought
possibly.
old gods were going to be a bigger thing, and then they're in there somewhere. Or some people thought like it would be a pirate expansion with like full on, you have like a ship and stuff. And even though there is like a piratey aspect, you're not going to have like a ship that you're walking
Right.
around. And then, that's what I'm just kind of looking for some big thing. Even Warlords of Draenor, they were able to really push that garrison thing a lot. The last Legion had all these class halls, but
Right.
now it's like we're just going to kind of go back to having a capital city, I guess. We'll see.
So these are all the things you got your hands on. Was there more?
The only other small thing was Heroes of the Storm has two characters coming, Hanzo and Alex Straza, and I messed around with them a bit.
Yeah.
They seem fun.
Good. Okay.
That game's like adding new characters all the time, so
Right. At a certain
I
point, it's
don't
like,
play
yeah.
it a ton. I play it every now and then, but
Right. Okay, so I think what we should do now is, what did you play anything else while you were at BlizzCon, like on
no,
your Switch? Did you touch it? Okay, anything else this
no,
past
I didn't
week?
actually. I brought my Switch, but I just never really even touched. Like I thought I would play some Mario here and there, but
Right.
I was just so busy. I didn't really have downtime. And when I got back to the room, I would just fall asleep usually.
Okay. Well, before we like move on, like let's do what I was playing. I'll just get through my stuff real quick, and then we'll get through like the BlizzCon headlines that we didn't touch on, and then
Okay.
we'll call it a show because we're kind of pressed for time. First though, before we do that, you did a couple of interviews while you were there. You did one with Jeff Kaplan. You mentioned this, and you did a couple other ones. I think people should check those out. They were all really good, kind of
Yeah,
informative stuff.
I think the Hearthstone one should be going up tomorrow, and then there's still a World of Warcraft and Here's the Storm interviews that are going to be coming up
Perfect. Okay, so just kind of
sometime this week.
look out for those throughout this week. Lots of good stuff in there. Okay, Mario. Excuse me. I did put a little bit more time into that. I'm still. I think I love it more and more the more I play it. I'm like
I
really
know it's
glad.
just so good.
I'm really glad it's the way it's going. When you
I
get
did
past
play
the,
some last night when I got home
yeah,
finally, and it's so easy just to jump right back in. And like sometimes when I'm playing a game a lot and I go on a trip, when I come back, it's hard to get back into
yes.
it. I did not have that problem whatsoever. I was like, yes, get more moons, please.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is just like we mentioned this last week, but just the different tiers of moons. Like if you get in there and you go to like a level that you haven't been in for a while and you haven't collected everything, like you're gonna have really easy moons to find. You're gonna have like moons that require a little bit of time, and then you're gonna have moons that are like, oh, here's like a whole thing I have to do, and just having that different tier of moon. That's kind of all going to get you the same thing in the end. It really eases you back into the process and really makes you feel like you're making progress. I like that a lot.
What's your moon count at?
I have like literally right now in my pocket right now that I have put on the ship. I have like 60. So that means like I probably have like 360, 350, 360.
Yeah, I'm almost at 700. So
Yeah. So I'm trying to like find some time here and there for it between a lot of other stuff. But I did put it on hold for the weekend so I could play Call of Duty World War II. And I specifically
Jeff, I want you to tell people why you're playing this.
I like Call of Duty, Mike.
That's,
Okay, so I liked Call of Duty back in the day.
You did actually. I remember you were actually kind of a defender for it
For a long
while.
time, yeah. And there's still like, the multiplayer is still as good as it was then. I'll say that. And I'll say that this multiplayer is maybe better than it's been in a while. even though I really like a lot of the jumping around, spacey stuff that they've done. But that's not really why I played. I played because last year, during the Game of the Year awards, Dean Takahashi, our beloved Dean, somehow managed to get last year's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare on our top 10 list for the entire site. And me and Mike, who were maybe the most upset by this, offended, we didn't play it. So what could we say? If he's saying it's that good, we didn't play it. We should have played it and found out why it's not. So guess what I did this year, Mike? I played it.
Yeah. So how good is it?
It's like number one, man. Game of the year for sure. No, I don't like it very much, especially that single player, especially after playing Wolfenstein. It is, I'll put it this way: like they have these things, like these like hashtag heroic moments, and all they are like literally. Like you're in a firefight, and then all of a sudden you get like a little icon that says, "Oh, your buddy's in trouble." You go over there, you press X, you drag him to safety, and you drag him like 5 feet. Like he could have crawled, dude. You're fine. Just crawl. Get over there.
Like heroic moments trademark.
Yeah, totally. Right? Heroic moments trademark. Absolutely. And it like that was like their big thing. Like this is how we're conveying what heroism is during war and combat. And I'm like, you just conveyed like a snippet of gameplay, and that's it. The writing and the dialogue is very eye-rolly. There is a really mean, like the lieutenant, the person in charge of your platoon, is like really super duper mean to everybody. Excuse me. In Dean's review, he's like, "Oh, there's a lot of tension between him and the Jewish soldier." So I'm like, "Oh, maybe there's like some racism stuff going on here. That would be interesting." No, he just hates everybody. He's just mean the entire game to everyone. It has nothing to do with race or anything. And then at the end, you find out, oh, here's the real reason he's mean, and it's just so unearned.
Does mom not hug him enough?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's just the most unearned bullshit ever, and it really drove me crazy. We're like, oh my god, you guys can't be doing this, like trying to redeem this character. It's just so stupid. But yeah, like it's just a Call of Duty campaign, and it wasn't even that bombastic or memorable. It was okay.
Does it do anything at least like kind of outside the expected Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan?
No,
kind of.
It's Band of Brothers, like. Like another game I've been playing. I'll talk about this in a second. Is like Need for Speed Payback. And have you seen anything of that game?
Kind of.
You're aware. You're aware that it is trying to be Fast and Furious, right?
Yes, I am.
And you can imagine the gulf between Need for Speed Payback and Fast and Furious, correct?
Yes,
that is the gulf between Call of Duty World War II and Band of Brothers. It's just trying to be Band of Brothers. It even ends with like a similar like, oh man, we're in the internment camps and stuff, and we're gonna see what it was like for some of the soldiers that were captured and the Jewish ones that were forced to like labor. And it's like it's pulled exactly from Band of Brothers. It's like absolutely the same scene pretty much. And it doesn't do it as well. It's not as effective. There's only one character that I would say is really likable and three-dimensional and that you get along with, and even he is just kind of, I don't know, even him I didn't like care for that much. All the rest are just throwaway stereotypes. There's one guy who's literally called college because he wears glasses and is smart and went to college, and so everyone just calls him college, and it's just, I don't know, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good.
I almost want Dean on the show soon, just to, I don't know, maybe we should wait for Game of the Year before you guys yell at this. I do want to play it too, but I really have to play a lot of other things.
Yeah, I know. So it's not going to. It's not too long, but yeah, I mean, Redbox it or some shit. Just rent it and get through that single player.
Folks, our Game of the Year is going to be a dumpster fire this year. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm like really starting to, because yeah, I don't know, it's gonna be a mess.
Anthony doesn't like Zelda.
Right.
Jason's not liking Mario, which
he says, "Oh, I don't." It's not like I don't
yell at him.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, it's not I don't like it." It's just, "Oh, it didn't deserve a Mario or a 100. We fucked up." I'm like, "No,
it no, 100.
Don't even."
I've never been more sure of any score I've ever given out in my life than that 100 for Mario Odyssey.
So he's like, "Oh, it's not as good as Divinity or Wolfenstein." He's clearly laying the groundwork for his Game of the Year argument, which is a thing that happens at this time of the year. I've noticed is when people start talking about games they like, it's framed very much in a way that's like, "Oh, and here's why it should be high on the Game of the Year list."
I might have to start playing Divinity just so we have another voice on that one. Oh, you played it too, though. So yeah, but I should play it. Things are getting ahead of us.
Yep, totally.
Getting out of our reach.
A game that probably doesn't need to be on there is Need for Speed Payback. I will say that the driving, I like the driving. It feels pretty good. It feels very, very arcadey. The tires are very grippy. It does the car does exactly what you want it to do when you want it to do it. The problem with that is it doesn't ever feel too dangerous. Like you never feel like, oh man, it's going so fast that I'm not in control, which is something I think Forza Horizon does very well, where it feels like, oh, I'm barely in control of this car. The Xbox One's very good for that because they put a lot of the haptic feedback in the triggers and the sticks, and it feels
That's
like,
one
oh
thing,
wow,
it has been doing racing games better, man.
right, yeah, and so
And
you
it's the
know.
Forza system.
Yeah, and just Need for Speed Payback doesn't have that same sense of speed and you know, just like living on the edge. And you know, the story is a joke. You play the most vanilla white dude in the history of video games, and you're trying to get the crew back together after you guys were betrayed, but everyone was betrayed, and no, like
God.
you want to get revenge on the person who betrayed you, and
Revengeance?
yeah, exactly. You want to get revenge. No, not even revengeance. It doesn't deserve that because honestly, what happens is like you get betrayed and you should all pretty much go to jail for what you were doing. But no, you're just kind of working as like a courier, and someone else, the other people in your crew are like they're just like working part-time jobs.
That's why.
No, they're not. You're very white. Like you're white enough for the rest of them. Like that's how white this guy is. Yeah, yeah. But like the rest of them are, yeah, of course they're going to be like Tay Diggs kind of characters and stuff like that. Where like, oh no, they're cool and hip.
Does
That's
one
why
of them get mad that the other newer side character is getting his own spin-off?
God, I love that shit. How dare you make it about you, Rock? How dare you make it about you?
Tyrese, no! Embrace the family!
Yeah, don't. You got to be kind around the Rock. You got to keep him running. He's the money, man. People aren't gonna know what we're talking about, but those who do are gonna appreciate it.
How do you not know about the Tyrese Rock?
Yeah,
man?
yeah, look, yeah. That's all you do.
Get
Google
up on
Tyrese Rock, you'll be fine. Get with us. Get on our level. Yeah, no one is quite that interesting or entertaining as feuds between Fast and the Furious actors in real life. So yeah, it's like a give or take. I do like the driving. We'll see if that holds out. I think at a certain point, if I'm getting better and better cars and they aren't really like lending to that sense of speed, then I won't have a need for it. Yeah, I won't have.
And Need for Speed is just the most identityless long-running franchise I can possibly think of. Which it should be easy to have identity since it's a racing genre thing, but I have no idea what Need for Speed is anymore.
And it does feel like this is the game where they're trying to find that identity again.
I think the last one I played that was fun was just that one that launched with PlayStation 4 that was basically kind of like Burnout Paradise.
Right. Was that a Hot Pursuit one again, or no? That was just I can't remember. I think it was just Need for Speed, right?
No, it had a name.
No, that Need for Speed was just 2015. God, I can't remember.
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find this out.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, the other game, Doom for the Switch. I can't talk about it too much until the 9th. I will say, I don't know. I'm just gonna tell people now, just in case. If you're gonna get it, only get it really if you are planning to play it in handheld. If you play it on the TV, I feel like it's kind of a mess. But when you're on handheld, you can't. Yeah. It drops it down to 720p, I think, and that makes a big difference. It's a lot smoother, and it's on a smaller screen, so you don't care as much. And there on that, like on a handheld, it's amazing. It's like a technological marvel. On the TV,
right? That makes sense because it's like, oh wow, I can't believe I'm playing Doom portably. But yeah, if you're just playing your TV, like wow, Doom looks worse.
Right. So I would make that a very clear distinction. If you have plans to play this mostly on the TV, just skip it. Just go find another way to play Doom. There are a lot of other ways. But if you haven't played it before and you're like, you've used my Switch in handheld mode all the time, maybe. I think it's a maybe. But I'll talk about that more next week, probably.
Rivals, Need for Speed Rivals.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, before totally. They rebooted it and then unrebooted it. What's No Limits? Oh, that was the phone one.
Yeah, where's the Run? Where did the Run fit in there? Need for Speed.
The Run with the cutscenes. That was 2011. Man, I forgot about that. It was just all the QuickTime events.
Okay, so that was before this generation, 2011, you said?
Man, yeah, everyone forgot about the Run. I remember that.
Don't ever forget about the Run, Mike. Don't ever forget about it.
And it was Most Wanted in 2012 again. Man, there's been so many.
The Run was very much another time they were trying to do Fast and Furious. They've done that. They've gone to that well a bunch of times.
Oh my God, Need for Speed Nitro for the.
I have a copy of Need for Speed Nitro as the GameCube disc, the small GameCube disc in the glove compartment of my car, and it's been there for like a decade now. It's been in there forever, and I've just never gotten it out, and I probably never will. It's good luck.
Can you believe there was just at some point a Need for Speed 2?
I can't.
Simpler time.
No, yeah. I cannot. That's
Back in 1997, it's Need for Speed 2.
that's so
There's
weird.
been so many, man. All right, I can't. I'm just gonna get. All right,
Yeah,
let's
don't
move
go
on.
down that because and
Oops.
there's like
We're
a
running out
bunch
of
of
time, and this
distinct
is too
versions of Need for
much.
Speed. I know, and then like each of those have like their own subclasses
Oh
of
my
Need for
god.
Speeds. It's a whole thing. Like that's a weird family tree right there. Okay, let's hop into the news so we can get you out of here before your thing happens tonight. You're having an orgy, right? Is that what you said at
Yeah,
your house?
something like that. Yeah,
Cool,
I gotta
cool,
get
cool.
the mac and cheese going.
Yeah. Yes, the absolute official food of the orgy, of course. All right, real quick. Telltale cuts 90 staff. Telltale, the company that does the Walking Dead adventure games, a bunch of licensed adventure games now. They seems like a pretty big cut. Mike, did you write this story?
Yeah, this is about 25% of their workforce.
Hmm.
It's a pretty big cut, which is strange for a company that seems so active and was still working with a lot of
Right.
big franchises. I don't think Telltale ever did a very good job of evolving. I think that they were doing the same
Well,
thing
yeah,
for a long time,
absolutely.
and I think maybe they lost some cut. Now, I mean, I'm just guessing
Speculating.
here. I
Right.
think
Yeah.
yeah, speculating, but also games are expensive to make, as we know, and not to get back on that single player games are dead thing, but it is harder to monetize those games except for to keep making them.
Right. Yeah, and that's and it doesn't get cheaper. It probably just gets more expensive because like you have to give people raises to keep them around,
Mm.
and like the games have to get kind of maybe a little bit bigger and a little bit more complex. So it's going to bring in more people. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Okay, we'll see how that kind of turns out. I'm interested to see how the future of Telltale. It's not like they've slowed down in the number of games they're making. They've done Batman recently, Guardians of the Galaxy. They're finishing up
Well,
The
they
Walking
had
Dead.
four. They had like four active episodic franchises this year. There
Right,
must be some kind of just fatigue from that, right? Like, even if
right.
you're a big Telltale fan, man, I
Well,
mean
I would
that's
imagine like you pick
that's
and
a
choose
lot
your
to
thing.
play.
Like you don't watch
Maybe
everything. Like just for example, we don't watch
again,
every single show that like CBS produces or that Sony Pictures produces. Like they produce a lot of stuff. You pick and
sure.
choose the stuff, and the business model needs to support it so that like you just have the dedicated audience that comes in and gets that stuff. If it's not working for Telltale, they will have to adjust, and we'll see. Again, we don't know. Speculating. We could probably hop into the BlizzCon news real quick. I just want to see if there's any other headlines I might have missed.
Yeah, well,
Ellie,
it's just some off the top of my head. There's the World of Warcraft Classic is kind of the big thing. So they are making
yes,
their own legacy server. The announcement kind of reeked a bit of this is not anytime super soon, but they needed to announce this because people have been kind of clamoring about it and criticizing them anytime they shut down like fan legacy servers.
right.
So this is official. They are going to offer this at some point. We don't really know exactly what it's going to look like, but there are a lot of people that are just very nostalgic for, and even some of them just prefer the way World of Warcraft was. It is a very different game now. I get that. I think it would certainly be interesting to jump back into that like original World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
The one thing that was nice was that it was much more of a kind of how MMOs were, where it was kind of like you're in this world. Like at this point, there's such a plot line now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to just feel like you're just in some place and you can just be a guy. Like now you're like a savior in this war who killed 6 different people who tried to destroy the world. There was a bit more of a I don't know when I think of MMOs, I still sometimes think of like running around in Quest for Camelot, just kind of looking at things, and
Right.
like that aspect was still there more for me.
Is it the kind of
Early
thing where you think there's going to be a lot of people that will get into this, or is it just kind of maybe going to be tourism? Like, does it? I guess you said you don't really know what it looks like yet, but is it
Yeah,
is it like
I think it'll
included
have
with
some
your
benefit.
like current WoW subscription, or do you have to get something different?
I don't think they could charge extra for it.
Right.
I don't think, but who knows? And I think it'll find players. Maybe
let me
not a
f-
ton.
Let me float this idea. Like, wouldn't it just be cooler if they just had like a Wayback Machine where like you just put in the date and they're like, here's what World of Warcraft was like on this day, and you could just go back and
Well, it'll be a
experience
lot more
that.
complicated.
Yeah, sure, but
Yeah.
I'm the idea man. I'll let someone else execute, Mike. I don't have to do that shit.
No, because honestly, I never really hear anybody. You don't really hear people like, I want to go specifically back to Cataclysm.
Okay,
Because a lot of that
you
stuff
don't
is
hear
still
that.
like
Okay,
you can still kind of just go to those zones and
all
it's
right.
similar. It's just so many things have changed mechanically, and like I said, a lot of those classic quests are just gone now because they kind of got overwritten by Cataclysm.
Right.
So very specifically going back to vanilla is kind of the goal for a lot of people.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right. StarCraft 2 is going free though, Mike. What was the
Yeah.
reaction to that?
Uh, well, something to say about StarCraft 2? StarCraft 2 is always so weird for me because it still does have fans, right? I mean,
Oh
people
yeah.
were still interested in that tournament that they had there, but it definitely seems like like one of the less sexy brands that they have these days. And I think making it free to play, making the barrier of entry just nothing, might get more people in. But it's going to be hard to do it for this kind of game so late because the people who are playing it are just, they're masters at this thing at this point. What does it look like when a wave of new players come in? Not sure. It's also to clarify, it's like you get basically Wings of Liberty because remember StarCraft 2 had that really weird
Yeah.
release thing
Like
where
the three section.
yeah, they didn't call it expansions. I think now they do, but there's like three versions of it, and it was like each of the three races campaigns were tied to the one.
Right.
So you get the first one for free, and that unlocks the ladder, like the multiplayer ladder. For a lot of people, that's all they care about anyway, so you're fine there. I think if you want the other like campaigns, you have to pay for those.
Yeah, that was a strange thing. I think it really puts it in perspective just how long ago StarCraft 2 came out, man.
It was a while ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like it's not that long, and then you remember, oh yeah, they went through like each one of those
Yeah.
releases.
Like this wasn't the year where I was expecting some kind of a new game announcement, but starting next year, that might become a game. And I don't know if it's like because both Diablo 2 and now StarCraft 2 are kind of old, and they don't really have a super active RTS franchise. I mean,
Right.
StarCraft 2 still has fans. So something's going to be happening with both of those series at some
Right.
point. Although
I mean, it does feel like they could like go a long way with a new Warcraft or something like that, but who knows?
Yeah, like a Warcraft 4, but,
Right, but
that's always a little awkward because you had to concurrently run it with World of Warcraft.
right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see how they play that out. But I would be interested to see a new Warcraft. What else? What else from BlizzCon?
Just this is actually one of the first times where news wise, I think that's pretty much a lot of the big things.
Right.
The other thing that struck me was this is the first time I was really able to check out some like big time esports, like be there live in the crowd. I got to watch some of the Hearthstone stuff and quite a lot of the Overwatch tournament, including the finals. It was really neat. It was really exciting to be there. And they made some changes to the way they present Overwatch esports, which made it a lot easier to follow, where they actually give teams like uniforms. So like everybody on the USA team will be wearing like predominantly red, and everybody, South Korea is predominantly white and stuff like that.
I mean, you're talking about the characters themselves, right?
Yeah, like literally in the game. So because before it was just like one team was blue, one team was red, but like in your mind, you're kind of like set and blue team is me, so root for blue team, and
right.
like the blue team people need to shoot the red team people. So it's always weird when you're technically following a red team person, they're shooting at a blue team guy. It gets real confusing. But now it's just yellow team person shooting at green team person. Yeah, okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that is smart. That's a really good idea.
There are some really good, really competitive matches. There was this one guy in the South Korean team named Flower who was playing Widowmaker, the sniper, like on attack. He was just doing these ridiculous things with that sniper character. It's just a lot of fun to watch.
But was it like a big part of this? Just the crowd was the crowd reactions like very exciting and amplified and stuff.
It's always fun to be there. Yeah, it's always fun to be there with the crowd. And
well, I mean, because I was just at a esports thing here in Denver, and only Counter-Strike really had a big presence of fans. So like I'd go by the Halo thing or go by the Quake thing, and it wasn't like there was almost no one there in the stands, and so it was like actually kind of depressing. So like, but I would imagine at BlizzCon, all those games had a lot of people there. Like
I said, I only watched the Overwatch and Hearthstone ones, but they both had pretty good crowds. Just for the finals, pretty much full. So it was exciting. It was I'd say just in general, kind of closing thoughts. It was a fun event to go to. I'd never been to BlizzCon. It was a really neat thing to go. A lot of things. It's fun, just like you can walk around and just go to a booth or go to a gameplay demo and just as easily walk into a place and suddenly there's a tournament going on there. Here's like some pin trading thing, or at the end it's freaking music's just playing a concert. So
right,
it's a really neat. As far as fan events go, it's definitely one of the best ones I've been to.
And we touched on this already, but talking to Jeff Kaplan and the rest of the people, very cool. Like they seemed like they were like willing to kind of get on the record about some stuff.
Yeah, and it was nice. It's nice that way because it's not a media event, but they were still very accommodating to media and gave us a lot of opportunities to get some good coverage out of it. Like it was definitely worth my trip out there.
Yeah, good, excellent. I think it made a lot of sense having you out there. Actually, I was like kind of like when we were talking about it and you were there actually working. Like, it's really stupid. This is his first one. We should have had him going for like several years now because like he plays all these games all the time.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's something that's just expensive to get a person out from Ohio over there.
No, I know, but it just makes so much like it's just so much like money better spent. I think typically, but
I think
we know that now. Yeah. Nothing else. No other big stories from the week. I mean, I'll just this weird thing. Assassin's Creed had like a bunch of fake Metacritic reviews that were all positive, and it was really weird. They all had like the same basic text and stuff.
Yeah, I saw some of that. Was there ever a consensus? Like, did that come from Ubisoft? Like, that's the worry, right?
No, there's no consensus and there's no like confirmation yet. It seems like if anything, Ubisoft would know way better than to do that. Like, if anything, it's a
overzealous, stupid
marketing
team.
Or something. Or just like a marketing firm that got like confused about how to spend their money. So we'll see. Maybe Ubisoft will come out and come clean about this and just say, "Hey, our bad. This won't happen again." Or maybe they'll get caught red-handed and it'll be a problem. The only other thing I'll say is L.A. Noire for the Switch. Do you see this? It doesn't actually fit on the Switch. It's too big.
No.
It's like so. The Switch has like 32 gigabytes, but a lot of that is used for the system memory. And if you get the LA Noire, it's like 28 or 29 gigabytes, and that's too much. So even if you get the physical version, you still have to download a 14 gigabyte patch. So like it's still going to take up a huge amount of your space.
Year one, we're already having that problem. They probably should have just included an SD card or something.
Yeah, and SD cards. I mean, if you get a big enough one, they are super expensive still. So. That's kind of a weird thing, but it hasn't hurt the Switch yet, so we'll see. Mike, I'm not really seeing any other news I want to talk about, so why don't we go ahead?
Good, because I'm running out of time.
Yeah, why don't we get you out of here? Why don't you first tell everybody where they can find you on the internet?
You can find me at GamesBeat. Always writing there. I'll have more of my BlizzCon coverage up soon from some of my interviews and some other just random thoughts and musings. I'm also doing the Exploding Barrel podcast with my brother every week, and that's at ebpodcast.com.
And I'm also on GameSpeed. I'm on Twitter at @JeffGrubb. You could see some of the YouTube videos I do at youtube.com/JeffreyGrubb. Also, I want to thank everybody over the weekend. I had like a small goal of like $250 for Extra Life. Got around 300 in just a couple hours. So yeah, I'm going to try to do it again before the month is out. See if we can't do a little bit better even. So keep an eye out for that. That will be on twitch.tv/JeffGrubb. So follow me there. Other than that, I think we're going to say goodbye. Let's get Mike to his orgy. Let's get me to my wholesome family dinner. Just because we're complete opposites. We're a odd couple, Mike.
That's wacky.
It's wacky and fun. Oh, man, we don't get along, but it's okay. We're still friends. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. And bye.